All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. This video, we're going to talk about fractions, decimal, and percentages. So basically, I'm going to be focusing more on how to convert from one form to another, because in this, when we start solving very soon in the other video series, you will need to express your answer either as a fraction or as a decimal or as a percentage. So it's important that you know how to convert from one form to another, all right? So to make it easy, I'm going to do it more like a schematic diagram, so that will be easy for us to understand. So let's say we have fractions here, all right? And we have percentage here, all right? Then we have, let's say, the decimals here, all right? So I'm going to talk about the operation that you're going to do to convert fractions to decimal. Let me call that A. Now, from percentage to decimals, I'll call the operation B, all right? Now, also, we can also convert from decimals to fraction. What we're going to call that C, all right? And also, you can also move from percentage to fractions. I'll call that D. From fractions to decimals, you call that E, and decimals to percentage, and that is F. All right, so what do you do? So let's start with A. How do you convert from fractions to percentage? Now, from fractions to percentage, what you just have to do, you have to multiply the fractions by 100, all right? So if you're given a fraction, let's say, for example, I have a fraction 1/2, and I want to express it as a percentage. So what I do is that I have to multiply 1/2 by 100, and that will give me what? 50%. So how do you convert fractions to percentage? What you do, you just multiply by what? 100. Now, how do you now convert percentage to decimals? All right, so now, how do you convert percentage to decimal? What you do, instead of multiplying by 100, what you do here is that you divide by 100. All right, so from percentage to decimal, you divide by 100. So for example, let's go back to what we had before. So let's say we had it 50%, all right? I want to convert this 50% to decimal. So what you just have to do is that 50% divided by 100, and this will give you 0.5. 0.5, okay? So from percentage to decimal, you divide by 100, okay? So, but from decimals to fractions, now decimal to fractions is a little bit tricky, just a bit, just have little things. So I have 3 rules that you have to do here, all right? So the first thing you do, you have to write down, so I'm gonna reuse this part as well. So let's say we have a particular decimal, 0.321. And you are asked now to convert this decimal to fraction. All right, we have 0.321. Now, the first thing to do is that you have to write 1. Okay, you write 1 directly under the decimal point. Okay. Okay. You write 1 directly under the decimal point. So that means in this case now, the decimal point is here. You just write 1 under that. Is that okay? Then number 2, what you do, you then write 0, okay, under each number after the decimal point. Is that okay? So you now write, so remember what we did first, we wrote 1 under the decimal point. Now, the next step is that you have to write 0 under each number, okay, under each number after the decimal point. So that means here, you're going to put 0 under this. you're going to put 0 under this and 0 under that. And number 3, you simplify if necessary, okay? So that's what you do. So the 3 rules, the first thing you do, you write 1 under the decimal point, directly under the decimal point. Then the next thing you write 0 under each number after the decimal point. So that means in this case now, you're going to have 321 divided by 1000. So that means we've converted this. Let me pick another example. Let's say we have, let's say this 0.5, okay? So the 0.5 we had, the same thing. You put 1 under the decimal point, then 0 under the numbers after. So we only have 1. So it's going to be 5 over what? 10. You can simplify this again. 5 will be 1 over what? 2. And we're back to the original fraction. So now I've shown you how to move from fractions, right, to percentage, from percentage to decimals, and decimals to fraction. All right. So now I'm going to move the other way around now. All right. So we have, so I'm going to write that again. So we had fractions. All right. We had percentage. And we had decimals, right? So I've shown you already how to move from fractions to percentage, and the rest we're gonna go back this time now. So we're gonna go from percentage to fractions. So let's call that D. Fractions to decimals, let's call that E. And decimals to percentage, let's call that what? F. Okay, so let's start with D. So if you have a particular percentage and you want to convert it to fractions, so basically what you do, you just write 100 as the denominator and you simplify, all right? So when you want to convert it back, you just write 100. So write 100, okay, as the denominator. And you simplify. All right, so that's what you do. So if you want to convert percentage, so let's say for instance, I have 33%, and I was asked to convert these back to fraction. So what I do, I just get it 33, and I'm gonna what? Put 100 under that, and that is it. So if for instance, I have 50%, the same thing, I just write 50, or let me just use this part here, so I can have more space. So if I have 50%, so I'm gonna just have 50 divided by 100, and this is the same thing as 1 over what? 2. So what you do is that you just write 100 under the number, and you do that. Then when you have fractions, okay? So when you have the next one now, when we have fractions, I want to convert to decimal. What you just have to do, you just have to divide it, okay? So if, for instance, I have 1 over 5, so basically I just divide it, and that will give me 0.2. So you don't do anything special from fractions to decimals. You just divide it as it is. Then if you want to convert from decimal to percentage, you just multiply by what? 100. Okay, so that's the difference. So from decimals to percentage, you multiply by 100. So for example, if we have 0.2 and you want to convert it to percent, there's going to be 0.2 times 100, and that will give us what? 20 what? Percent. And that is how you move from one expression of an answer to another one. So if you, for instance, you have a fraction to decimals, or you have a fraction you want to convert to percentage, any of them is that. So that is that for that. So now we've done with both D, E, and F. Okay, and that is all. So just a quick recap. When you're moving from fractions to percentage, you multiply by 100. When moving from percentage to decimal, you divide by 100. Now, when you're moving from decimal to fraction, you apply the 3 rules I told about. You write 1 as the denominator, okay, under the decimal point. Then you write 0 as under each number after the decimal point. Then you simplify if necessary. Then from percentage to fractions, you just add 100 as the denominator and you then simplify, all right? Then, but from fractions to decimal, you divide, while from decimal to percentage, you multiply. Okay, that is that for that. And this will move us to the next video now. We're going to talk about simplifying algebraic expressions, all right? So please don't forget to subscribe or like or make a comment. If there's a question you have, feel free to reach out, send me a message, and I'll get back to you. All right, so I'm going to see you in the next video where we're going to talk about how do we simplify algebraic expressions and how do we go about that. Okay, so I'm going to see you soon.